Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
Sergeant and Mrs. Smith, you're going to love this house.
Is that a tub in the kitchen?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
In 2005, two brothers hit the road to fight monsters. That road has led them to fighting demons, angels, and saving the world.
It's a journey that is taking them to heaven, hell, and back. But they aren't done.
Join our journey as we go episode by episode, following the adventures of Sam and Dean Winchester. We break each episode down with the writers, producers, directors, crew, and actors to bring you the behind-the-scenes stories of how this legendary TV series was made. That guy right there, that's Rob Benedict. He played God and Chuck Shirley.
Hey, and that guy there, that's Richard Spade Jr. He played Gabriel, Loki, and the Trickster. And P.S., he directed a bunch of episodes, too.
Now, while we are insiders, we're also outsiders, because we're not experts. This is our first time watching the entire series, all 327 episodes.
Rich and I have met many of the fans at conventions around the world, and we are deepening our understanding of why you all love this series so much. Because it's really good.
Yeah, it is. Now, listen. There will be spoilers, so consider yourself warned.
And thank you for joining us on this trip we call Supernatural Then and Now. Hey, everybody, it's Rob Benedict.
Hey, everybody, it's Richard Spate.
Are you imitating me, Richard?
I know, Robert.
And we are talking about Season 6, Episode 4, Weekend at Bobby's.
Weekend at Bobby's.
What?
You know, Robbie, people call you Bobby.
Every weekend is Weekend at Bobby's.
Exactly. And you have parties where people are naked in a hot tub. So this is like a Weekend at Bobby's kind of thing. Only the difference is this is airable on television and yours is filth.
Yeah, there's no nudity in Supernatural. And you've got no proof that ever happened.
Except for the times you've told me about it in great detail.
That's true. Nevertheless, hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. And a special shout out to our returning customers and people that listen to the show. Thank you so much. We value your time and we appreciate your attention.
We're so glad you're listening to the show. You know what? Tell a friend.
Tell a friend, for sure.
Tell a family member. I can't tell you how many times Rob Benedict and I go to a convention and we stand up on the stage and we say, Rob and I, or Rich and I, depending on who's speaking, host a Supernatural Rewatch podcast, and 3/4 of the room will cheer. They know it, they love it. But 1/4 of the people have never heard of the podcast. That means we need your help getting word out because Supernatural fans need, nay, deserve this podcast to rewatch every episode, but not just like they're watching at home, but like they're watching with a team of experts led by Rob and Rich.
Yeah, right.
With humor at our side.
Yeah.
To review each episode, watching it mostly for the first time, and bringing along with us cast and crew as part of an interview process that is, well, eye-opening. So please, share the word, share the wealth, share the podcast.
There you go. Well said, Richard, my friend. And now we go into the summary of Weekend at Bobby's. Are you ready?
Yeah, man, I'm on pins and needles. I'm fired up.
Okay, it's a year ago, and Bobby wants his soul back.
Bobby's back, and yes, he wants his soul back. Hey, Bob, hey now, Bobby's back.
He summons Crowley, who refuses and points to the contract, which is a tattoo on his arm, which mentions that he only must make best efforts.
That son of a bitch.
However, Bobby has trapped Crowley in a devil's trap, but Crowley threatens him with a hellhound, so Bobby releases him. In the present day, Sam and Dean are on a hunt in Wisconsin, tracking a monster.
Pretty vague.
After some research, they call Bobby for help, who tells them it is a lamia, a creature typically found in Greece. It juices the heart and then drinks the blood of its victims. It can only be killed by a silver blade blessed by a priest. Bobby then returns to his work, torturing a demon he has tied up in his basement. Maybe the hottest demon that we've had so far.
The demon from the forged modeling agency of demons.
I know, totally. And a fine actress she was. He's trying to find out what Crowley's name was when he was human. After getting the answer, Fergus MacLeod, which brought me joy just because that was, sort of a foreshadowing of Rowena MacLeod, who's going to join us in a few seasons. Anyway, there you have it. He's Scottish. His name's Fergus MacLeod. So Bobby gets that answer, and then he burns the demon's human remains, destroying it and its host.
Yeah, man.
Bobby continues to support other hunters by answering the phones to cover for their law enforcement aliases.
In a hilarious montage of phone answering and hanging up and chaos.
Mm-hmm. And the clock is turning, signify passage of time. So then Rufus knocks at his door, and he has a dead Okami with him, and he needs to bury it in Bobby's yard. So they bury it. However, when a federal agent shows up with Sherriff Jody Mills to look around for Okami's body, it's gone.
Gone.
Later that night, Bobby tracks it to his neighbor's house, a neighbor who happens to have a crush on Bobby.
Yeah, she invited Robbie. She invited Bobby over for
something.
pie. And what did they call watching a movie? It wasn't Netflix and chill because Netflix didn't exist as a streaming platform
right
at that time.
Yeah, it was
movie of the week and chill.
Sure.
Videotape and chill.
Yeah. Did you recognize that actress?
That's Jennifer Aspin,
who was in a sitcom that Richard and I were both in.
Well, I think saying that I'm in that sitcom is a big leap, but I know what you mean. Robbie was a regular on a show called Come to Papa, and she played Tom Papa's wife, right?
Yeah, Jennifer.
I know her from The Agency. She played a huge guest star.
Oh, wow.
In an episode that focused on my character.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, Bobby disposes of the Okami by shoving it into her wood chipper. The neighbor loses interest in Bobby, covered in blood.
When you said, somehow the way you said that, it sounded real racy. Sounded a little bit like a hot tub party at Rob's house. You know what I mean? Shoving something into the old wood chipper, are they, Rob?
I don't know about
and
that.
And also the way you said that with your little eyebrow,
I didn't.
Wood chipper.
My eyebrows didn't do anything.
Waka waka.
I just am reading the copy.
Oh, the old wood chipper. OL' wood chipper, Rob said.
However, they're both covered in blood, and it's a really funny scene. And he's like, so, yeah, maybe I will come over for pie. And she's like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. She was great in this episode.
Jennifer was great in that role.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rufus has agreed to help Bobby and tracks down a ring once worn by Crowley's son, Gavin.
By the way, I got to throw in there, when they were talking about the aliases, that one of his aliases is Luther Vandross.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
That made me laugh.
Yeah. And then Shepard says something like, big fan.
Yeah, that's right.
So here's a quick question. Does Crowley's son Gavin come back? He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think played by a different dude.
Okay, I was going to say, we used to do conventions with
Theo.
Yeah, Theo. Yeah.
Different actor, yeah.
That's not, okay, good to know. So the hunters use the ring to summon Gavin's ghost. Dean calls to complain about Sam. Bobby asks to speak with both of them on the phone. He then chews them out for being whiny and selfish, and then asks for their help. He sends them off to Scotland.
They have a point. They're kind of like, hey, Bobby, you never really asked for help.
True, yeah.
Because he just tears into him like, you sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Quit thinking of your dang self.
Yeah. But he's just being fatherly too, and that's, and you see that he's like a father figure to them. But yeah, it was both. I can see both sides. I see both sides.
Yep, same.
Bobby summons Crowley. At first, the Crossroads demon just laughs because he hates his son. However, the feeling is mutual, and Gavin reveals to Bobby the location of his father's human remains. And Bobby gets Dean on the phone, who is now in Scotland standing over Crowley's human bones.
Yeah, big road trip for the Winchester boys.
Oh, yeah. I assume they got the plane ticket okay. And
yeah, Dean got over his fear of flying, and they just flew over there.
Yep. Crowley exchanges Bobby's soul for his own remains. He then appears in Scotland and takes the remains from Sam and Dean. Bobby thanks the boys for helping him get his soul back as they're driving. You didn't notice they're driving, on the other side of the road.
Oh, that's right.
In that scene, yeah.
You know what's funny about the one thing we didn't talk about, that exchange with Bobby and Crowley? He's like, I know you're going to say something, rednecky and whimsical, and then put me down with a folksy,
Yeah.
Crowley breaks down everything that Bobby's about to do. It's really funny.
Listen, I have to say right off the bat, so that's it. That was the end of the episode.
And I guess the big reveal here is all of this episode, the directing debut
of Mr. Jensen Ackles.
Of Mr. Jensen Ackles, yeah.
Yeah. who I thought did a great job.
Great job.
It's really well directed. I see his choices that he's making. I love the way that last scene is shot and lit between Crowley and Bobby.
Yeah, it's great.
Where they really close up with and Shepard's kind of in shadows. By far, this is my favorite episode so far this season. This is the
agreed. There was also something really
feels like supernatural again.
So I had blanked that this was the episode that Jensen
interesting
directed.
Okay.
So I'm watching it, not knowing that, not remembering that. And there's this shot where Bobby is waiting for Jody Mills to meet him on the bridge, and he's going to ask for her to extradite Rufus.
Oh, yeah.
And the shot is Jim Beaver leaning on his car, looking out in a 1,000-yard stare to nowhere. And the camera kind of pushes in on him and hinges around as he turns his head to discover an approaching car. Mm-hmm. And in my brain, I go, that's such a Dean shot. Like they just basically shot Bobby the way they shoot Dean. Whenever Dean's leaning against the car, waiting on something to, some piece of information to come his way. And then when I realized Jensen directed it, I'm like, son of a bitch, that was clever. Like he did that. It was done on purpose.
Yeah.
Very clever.
We can talk about it later, but obviously the big title screen that comes up directed by Jensen Ackles, you must have just blinked or something. I just kind of missed that.
They do a title card.
Yeah.
I just wasn't looking at the title card when it popped up.
You just weren't looking at the title card. Yeah. Makes sense. You just weren't looking.
Because that's during the boring part of the episode. They're getting the ball rolling.
Yeah. Why not?
You can finish making your coffee and maybe, wrap up your Caesar salad.
Sure.
Munching on.
Sure. Yeah, but I thought, honestly, all the acting was top notch. People are like, it felt more, the actors felt like relaxed, so not actory at all,
Tons of humor, man.
Tons of humor. Stephen Williams is so good, and the two of them, Stephen and Jim.
They're so funny.
Jim together.
Don't swallow the ring. I'm swallowing it, Bobby.
Yeah, totally.
Rufus, don't swallow. Ooh.
Yeah.
I swallowed it, Bobby.
Yeah.
Like, it's really funny.
It's great. Like we said, Jennifer Aniston's good. Kim Rhodes is just back and really solidifying that character. And Shepard, I mean, I know that his character is a little bit bad and a little bit good, but certainly this is more him being the bad guy, and he does it deliciously well.
Again, the humor, like the Jennifer Aniston storyline of the wood chipper and the blood, it's so well done. The reveal on her is so great.
Really well written.
Dan Laughlin and Andrew Dabb, I believe.
I even liked the reveal of the bones. You don't see it first.
Yeah, man, I loved it. And like that. Oh, that's what we're. Okay, that was it.
Yeah, the bones. That's how he killed the demon.
Burn the bone, buddy.
Yeah.
Burn the bone, baby, bo. Bobby, burn the bones.
Well, so it's beard time.
Baby, Bobby, Bobo, beard time. Burn the bone, Bobby.
So what do you say for the RRR?
Well, you must be referring to the Rob and Rich ratings.
You know, while you did that, I saw the turning clock, like in the Jim Beaver. Yeah. Now listen, it's Tuesday morning.
Okay. Smarty pants. Just because we're all wearing pants and not in a hot tub right now doesn't make you the host of this party.
So what do you think?
Jensen Ackles' first directorial debut. I think it's really, really good. Shows that his years on set have not just been spent doing drugs in the trailer. He's actually been on set, paying attention, studying at the feet of some great directors, and bringing his own timing and wit and knowledge of character as long with his knowledge of camera to the playing field. I think it's great. I'm going to give it, this is high praise too. I'm going to give it a Soldier Boy.
Oh.
When Soldier Boy's first unfrozen, that beard.
Ackles.
Big, hardy, a lot going on. Probably could get trimmed somewhere and become even better and healthier with time. But as an opening salvo, great.
Yeah.
Solid, beefy, thick beard.
Yeah.
And by the way, on a completely naked Jensen Ackles, because that's
good.
how he shows up.
That's really, really good.
So I'm going with Soldier Boy's unfrozen beard as revealed in The Boys in his first episode.
All right. Just going piggyback on that, I'll give it the Ackles hiatus beard, which he would grow every time there was a hiatus before the show. And on any other person, it would look like he just needs to shave. But of course, on him, it was the perfect beard at the perfect length without any have to do anything. It's just he's Ackles' face. But then he'd have to shave it off again and be Dean when they started shooting again.
These are good reviews for old Jensen.
Yeah.
Jensen's review graphic is two Jensens.
Two Jensens, yeah. Yeah, exactly. As it should.
Jensen gets a pair of Jensens.
As it should be. Well, we've got a treat today. Well, we've got an interview.
She has no beard. She's a beardless person.
She's beardless. Kim Rhodes played Sheriff Jody Mills in 19 episodes of Supernatural.
19?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
She's all over this show.
Appearing every season from 5 through 15.
Every season from 5 through 15. Yeah. Good grief, she's everywhere.
Yeah, she's everywhere. She recently played Carrie in the reimagined Kung Fu. Was that an episode?
She's great in that.
Did you direct that?
I did.
Oh, awesome.
She was recurring the whole season.
Oh, right. That's right.
But I directed her in a couple
Forgotten
episodes.
About that. She also, of course, starred in the Disney series The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. She's had numerous guest spots on shows such as Criminal Minds, House Without a Trace, and Star Trek Voyager, just to name a few. However, her greatest joy was playing Sue in the celebrated series Kings of Con. Damn right it was.
Damn right it was.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's our conversation with Kim Rhodes. All right, Kim, thank you so much for coming back and talking with us.
Kim Rhodes.
Hi, I love you so much. Hi.
I love you too. So this is Jody Mills' second appearance. Going back to the first one, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid from season 5. Do you recall what it was like getting this second call for this season?
Ring, ring, ring. Hi, it's Supernatural.
Well, I still was like, this guy, okay. I didn't know that we were doing a thing. I just figured that I read the script and I was like, they need somebody that they don't have to deal with. Preposition isn't the word I want. What's the preposterous isn't the word I want. What is it when it's backstory?
Exposition.
There was a P in there somewhere. So they didn't want, I just assumed that they were bringing me in because they didn't want to have to deal with exposition and they wanted somebody who could facilitate the plot line, that they wouldn't also have to be like, how does this person know about monsters?
Right.
So I thought I was convenient. It did not on any way register that like, oh no, you're
I
in.
just realized that this is your first time on this podcast. Is that true?
No, it's my second.
Okay. I was going to say,
Rob is not a fan of the podcast. So Rob,
but you came on and as a guest reviewer.
Yes.
But this is the first time we're talking about Jody Mills with you.
Oh.
Like in terms of an episode you were in.
I was like, oh yeah, no.
Because I have a question here that's how did the role come to you? Have we talked about that in this podcast?
Have we not talked about that? No, because I was a reviewer. I remember reviewing because we were talking about the beards versus the
now I don't know.
The tattoo, yeah. Well, let's recall for people that might not know. Going back to Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, do you recall how the role came to you? Did you audition? Was it an offer?
Yeah. It was Ulrich Dawson Kritzer. Bless their hearts. And they brought me straight into callback.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So it's just me and 7 other women sitting in the room waiting to go. And everybody was a different flavor.
Yeah.
They clearly had not decided anything they wanted about this character. There was Marge, clearly from Fargo. There was Mariska Hargitay from SVU. They're not in really, but like the flavors of different
that type of person. Yeah.
And
sure.
And I had already, it was the scene where my son eats my husband's intestines and Sam comes in and is like, come on, you get out. And we run through the house and then we get out and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And he goes, your son's a zombie. He's got to be shot in the head. And then in this script, he offers me the gun and that's where it ended. And so I had made some pretty extreme choices, as is my wont.
I assume all hilarious.
Yes, I was wacky hijinks. And then, so we're sitting there. I'm ready. I'm in my little bubble. The casting director walks past, and one of the other actresses goes, "Are we going to do the entire scene?" I'm assuming, and he goes, "Yeah." He keeps walking. She goes, "That's impossible. You can't do this in an audition." And he goes, "That's Supernatural." And in that moment, I went, "This is mine."
Oh my God, that's
mine.
Hilarious. Wow.
So I went in and I did the scene and I kept going. So when Sam apparently offers me the gun, I took the gun and I broke down, but I went to go, like I turned to go shoot my kid in the head.
Wow.
And they ultimately had Sam shoot my kid in the head because I think they didn't want to put me through that.
Yeah.
But that's how I got the job.
Holy cow, Kim. Wow. That's wild. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, it was big. I'm good at extreme. Big. Mm-hmm. You want big? You want this one to go to 11? I'm your girl.
Yeah, but Kim, you sell yourself short. Yeah. You always do. You're also a great actress, and you play the reality of those extreme situations. You play the reality really, really well, and that's why you're so good in this show.
It's so true.
Were you aware of Supernatural before that audition?
Yes. Yeah, I had watched it when it was a companion to Buffy, off and on.
Mhm.
My sister was a huge fan. My sister
Okay.
and her now husband loved it.
Oh, cool.
So I was familiar with it through them.
Oh, cool. That's so awesome.
I don't think I knew there was a sister at home.
You don't know I have a sister?
I don't.
Oh, you did though. No, she's the biogeneticist with a postdoctorate from Harvard.
Oh,
Man,
I'm the rough draft. She's the final copy.
I love it. That's great.
is she older or younger than you?
She's younger than me by 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she like balding guys in their 50s?
Actually, yes, she's married to one.
Well, there you go.
Perfect. Robbie, go.
No, man, I'm done. I'm out.
Hey there, this is Jared Padalecki, and I hope you're enjoying the episode. But we gotta pull over for a second for some messages.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
This episode is brought to you by Jira. Ever wonder how those big marketing campaigns that make headlines get delivered on time? It all starts with Jira, the only project management tool you need to plan and track work across any team. Every step of that campaign is organised in one place, from launching the campaign all the way back to designing ads and writing creative briefs. Get started on your next big marketing campaign idea today in Jira.
Thank you for supporting Supernatural then and now. And now, back to the show.
Okay, so I really thought this was an interesting. I know we have probably some more backstory questions for you, but the character we met, the Jody Mills we met in Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, and this Jody Mills. So one of the things that Rob and I thought was super funny about the first time we meet your character is you're like, Bobby, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
You know, like we met you in a humorous way in your relationship with Bobby, and also in a way that sort of was enlightening to the character of Bobby that we did not know. We're like, we didn't know he was the town drunk, you know, like they made some references in that episode.
Yeah.
But it does seem like whatever happened in Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, and Bobby lives in this town and has been in this town since we left that episode. He has been in a wheelchair for a period of time. Like he's obviously been homebound in the town for a while. It seems like fences are mildly mended because as we see you guys relating to each other, there's definitely a familiarity.
Yeah.
That seems more friendly than foey.
Yes.
In this
Yeah. I love the whole, like, I've been arresting him for what, like 10 years? Yeah, something about that. Like there's just, they're just kind of like, yep, this is our relationship. I do stupid shit. She arrests me. And then we go on about our day.
Yeah, but you're willing to do things like you step between a Fed and Bobby.
Well, I think it's because she at Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, correct me if I'm wrong, is when you kind of like, you saw the supernatural stuff.
Yeah. I'm in the know at this point.
I guess my whole point of doing this dive on both episodes is it's a nice character progression that you don't always get in a guest star.
Yeah.
You know, they took your character and didn't just drop you back in the same place when we last saw you.
Yeah.
There's been some character development off screen, and now we're arriving to this different rapport that makes total sense based on the past.
Well, you don't.
But it's definitely the now.
I think it's Supernatural. There isn't a lot of watching characters move from, I have no idea these things exist, to I am now existing in this world in a way I never knew before, and watching how they change in that process.
Right.
And I really loved that the writers let me do that.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? That's true. Aside from the, Sam Winchester or something, you're right. Like you were one of the few sort of civilians we get to see having their eyes opened, and then you stick around for longer.
Yeah.
And then so you get called to come back in season 6, and the director is Jensen Ackles. So what was that like?
Well, that was cool because again, I didn't know I was really going to be there, and I was like, okay, I got to shoot your shot. And so nothing was happening at one point, and I went up and I was like, my sister really loves you. Would you be willing to record an anniversary message for her and her husband? He was like, yeah. And now of course I would, now oddly enough, now that I know him and know he would willingly and happily do that, I would never ask him for something like that. But at the time I was like, I'm never going to see this guy again. I might as well do it while I can do it.
Right. That's funny.
So yeah, I was intimidated, but I loved, like, I will never forget. I think Jensen was actually integral in Jody's continued presence on the show, because they didn't, from what I watched, correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't ever keep a guest star or a recurring who didn't have the capacity to bring the entire show with them. Like, you needed to, somebody could show up and be shiny and bright and fun, but maybe not bring the show with them, or just serve a moment and then kind of poof out. And there was a moment when I was in a scene and we cut, and Jensen pulls me off the side and he's like, okay, what are you doing in this moment right here when you say this thing? And I have learned to be honest. And I said, saying it really fast because I don't know why I'm saying it. And he said, and that's exactly what it looks like. He said,
well, kudos to you for nailing that choice then. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I did the thing. And so he said, I want to remind you, in this world and on this show, da 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 da, and for your character, da da da. And I went, oh, okay, I get it. But that the willingness that Jensen had to help me bring the show into my performance, if I didn't have that, I don't think I would have stuck around as a guest star.
Wow.
So yeah, that was that little moment for Jensen. And I don't think he did it thinking, oh, we're going to make sure Kim stays forever. I think he did it just because the show was important to him. And when he saw a moment that was missing what it could be, he did everything he could to fill it in.
And
That's awesome.
Had you worked with directors before whose primary interest is acting, directors?
I don't think I had.
Well, obviously there's someone on this Zoom call with us here who's one of those.
Go on.
Yep.
But there's, I feel like there's an advantage that actors who become directors, if they're actually good directors, their acting background really helps.
Yes.
And what I saw in this episode was everyone's acting seemed relaxed. And it was, everyone seemed the acting in this episode was really good. Everybody's really good, and they seemed relaxed. And I gotta guess that that's Jensen sort of bringing that energy, right?
Yeah. Giving permission. I think actors in general, well, I'm going to go one way or the other. I think either, no one on the Zoom call, nobody I worked with on Supernatural, either you're going to get an actor who is trying to act everybody's job for them.
Well,
and here's what you have to do, and here's what they go. Or you get an actor who's not scared of actors. And is like, I see what you want to do, and you're not. And Rich is like that. Rich is very, I see what you're almost doing, Rhodes. Put a nickel in it and get out there and do it.
Yeah.
And that was also how Jensen was. Jensen was not frightened. And he had, I'm much more frightening now than I was back then. So I flatter myself by including myself in this. But he also had Stephen Williams and Jim Beaver.
Right.
Like, those are intimidating presences to have on a set.
Yeah.
And Jensen was just like, go.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, I wonder, we don't have Jensen as part of this particular interview, but hope to talk to him eventually, but about this directing experiment. But I imagine when it's your boat, like he's been number one or number two on the call sheet for the whole time, there's a confidence that comes with just sliding slightly to the right to direct this. And by the way, it was not a Jared and Jensen heavy episode, which was great for Jensen.
And that was by design, right? I'm sure.
Right. Did you? So, Rob, I have a question for you. Rob and I have not talked about this episode yet, so this is our first time discussing it. For those at home, we're actually doing this interview before we do our summary. But didn't it feel to you almost like, because of the limited presence of Jared and Jensen, and because of the very strong presence of 3-4 major guest stars who go through the show for the rest of his life, Mark Shepard, Kim Rhodes, Stephen Williams, and Jim Beaver, it almost felt like a spinoff pilot.
Yeah.
As I was watching it, I was like, and it had a different, it had a slightly more whimsical comedic energy and tone and editorial style, with Jim being kind of the pointing to the bayonet of the story.
Right.
And I'm like, watching this going, like, man, I swear to you, it's like I'm watching a pilot.
Yeah.
It just feels like the spinoff of another spinoff of Supernatural.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you get that sense at all, or is it just me?
Well, no, it was, I think there were people, spinoff, but I heard a number of people back when I was paying attention to this sort of thing saying, why wasn't it Rufus and Bobby? I mean, why right there? Like, why wasn't that the spinoff?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Williams is, really adds a lot too. He's got, a very comfortability, and you could see that being a show for sure. But I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea beyond the fact that it did look that way. And so they shot it out of order too, Kim, didn't they? It said that they.
This was the first episode shot that season.
Right.
I don't. Yes, so that Jensen would have time to prep it.
Right.
Yes, I do remember them talking about that. I didn't know. I still was so. I'm just happy to be invited. I wasn't really paying attention to things at that time.
Right.
I was just trying to convince them that, yes, I could actually drive a car. I've been trained by police officers. Please let me just drive the damn car.
And they did, right? That's you. Yeah, that's you driving it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Had you played a cop before? Because you seem very comfortable in that getup.
Played a lot of cops.
Yeah.
In that time range. Yes, I think I played a cop. I think I've played a couple of cops. Yes. Yeah. I gauge everything by what my hair was. So I'm like, let's hear. My hair was in that. So yes, I did CSI and I was a cop, and I did Without a Trace and I was a cop. Yeah. I played a lot of cops.
Yeah.
Because I'm cute enough to be not offensive,
right,
but I'm not so hot that people wonder why the lead isn't trying to fuck me. So I play a lot of cops.
That's also the name of your biography, which I think is apt.
And then, of course, there's my biography, which is called "The Lead Who Tried to F Her," because I'm the off-brand fella who would have been all over you like a cheap suit. Did you have any speed bumps in your perception of this character going into the second episode, knowing that you shot your son, knowing the history of where you came from? Did this all track for you, or was there anything that you're like, I seem mighty comfortable, or I wish I were more comfortable, or whatever?
No, because I'm sure you can chime in on this. I was so used to, at this point, this was when you could still make a living being a guest star.
Right.
And I was a guest star. I show up, I do my job, I move on. If I'm lucky enough to come back again, I assume the entire world has moved on without me, and I get on it where it is. My job is to be right here, right now, serve the story, do what I'm told to do, get the out.
Man, you're 100% right. Even I asked that question, but that's through the lens of a bunch of people who've been on tour together for 15 years. You're right. When you do a guest star and 9 months later you get a call to come back, you don't break down the script going, I don't know if she'd do that. You're like, whatever. She's now a boat captain. Yeah. Sure. Where are my
Absolutely. You shove that ring up your ass. We'll make it work.
Yeah, of course. That's exactly right. It was. I always joked that aside from the autobiography I'm going to write about your character, the other one was going to be called Guest Stars Don't Blow Takes. Like, you just show up, you swing at every pitch, and then you go back to the dugout and you sit there.
You go back
you know
to
what
the
I don't do? I don't pull pranks. Right. I don't pull pranks.
No. I'll tell you this. I don't really even join in on conversations. When like people are like having a laugh over there and I know exactly what they're talking about. I'm like, totally. Nah, I'm a guest in this house. I'm going to stay over here.
Well, and obviously, eventually with Supernatural, it became less that way because these became our friends and family. But yeah, certainly every other guest star that, I go on, it's like, we're not I'm not going to make best friends here.
That's the anomaly of that show.
Yeah, totally.
And but by the way, and that question wasn't setting up because I think there were issues. I didn't. I thought it was great, but I know what you're an actress's actor, like you do your homework. So your answer makes total sense. I just wondered if there had been, you always do such a good job bringing the emotional story with you wherever you go, including as a friend, not just as an actress. So I know that you are aware of character. You know what I mean? Like, I know this is something that organically you think of because I've directed you and I've had you say something. I mean, Rob and I did Kings of Con with you, and you changed one of the lines to one of the funniest lines in the show. And we were like, I was just in here having a smoke. And you're like, no, she'd be in here having a cry. So you're like, I just came to the closet to cry. And I'm like, genius, character, boom, 101. So it's that kind of thing that I know you always carry with you. So that was the origin of that question. Not that you'd necessarily be questioning what you were handed as much.
I think my job is to build, not to identify the piece that shouldn't be there, right? So I was like, all right, this is my relationship. I have different relationships with Sam than I do with Dean, because Sam is the one who saved me from having to shoot my child in the head. Whereas Dean has the same level of, I got this that Jody does. So there's, so I build on it. The story was never about that, but that's what I brought with me. That's that, like, bringing the show with you when you come into this moment sort of thing. But I always feel like there was only one moment ever that I was like, that is not supposed to be part of this potpourri right.
Well, she's an interesting character because up to this point, all Sam Dean's allies are kind of off the grid people, and she's law enforcement, but she still seems to really get it and really get them. And whatever the leap was between 5 and 6, I think you made it really smooth because I totally bought it in this episode. That she's kind of in with them now, and he's helping Bobby. Did you always get along well with Jim? I mean, you and he, yeah.
Yes. Well, that's okay. So here's another thing. Jim and I are cut much from the same cloth. In this episode, he's got the neighbor with the peach cobbler that seems like the lovely, and everybody wanted, why isn't Bobby with the neighbor with the peach cobbler? Blah, 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 blah. But Jim and I believe there's this thing you can admit or not if you've ever heard this, but if you want them to write it, play it. Yeah. So he and I sat down and we're like, why does she do this for him? Why does she risk her career? Right. There's got to be something else there. There's got to be. And so we just started sprinkling in moments of, I don't know why I'm doing this, but there's something about you. Yeah. You don't want to, it has to be sprinkles. Yeah. It can't be, and now we're playing a love story where we longingly look at each other and forget. That doesn't make any sense. You got to do it within the boundaries of the script. But Jim and I deliberately started playing that there's something about these two that they don't even understand why they like each other so much.
And does that go someplace? Oh, exciting. Fun.
Yep.
No spoilers.
Fun.
No spoilers. But
awesome. Yeah. Okay, did you know that Jody Mills has an in-character Twitter feed that's supposedly canon? Is that true?
No.
Okay, that's a question here. Did you know that Jody Mills has an in-character Twitter feed that is supposedly canon?
Wow.
Yeah, well, then you heard it here first, and so did I. Richard?
I'm trying to figure out, how does a Twitter feed from a character become canon? How did that...
well, if Jody mentions her Twitter feed in the show... If Jody said, I saw it on Twitter, or I saw it on Twitter, then Jody's got a Twitter feed someplace.
Oh, wow.
That makes sense.
So what season did you get started doing the conventions?
I don't remember.
It was 1978, I believe.
Yes, it was before. It was back when I remember picking up my rotary phone.
Yeah, got a fax, and they said,
I don't know. I think I had one more episode after this. So maybe season 7.
All right. Yeah. It's interesting for me going back and watching this and then trying to equate it with where I was in you know what I mean? Like this season, is a string of seasons that I'm not in, but I was doing a lot of conventions. So I'm like, oh yeah, right around this time, that's probably when I met Rich. You know what I mean? I'm like, in my mind, I'm going through what year this was and what was going on
right
in all of our lives,
And I know that when we do these shows, because Rob and I have had this experience, you kind of do each one and you go on your merry way and go, well, that was it for that. But did you have a sense that maybe Jody Mills would return? I know they gave you no guarantees, but you're like, oh, I feel like this might be, maybe this isn't my last dance here.
I was told, no. Even Jensen was like, no. We need you. We wouldn't have used you for this if we didn't. You're in. We'll see you again. But also, every single other fucking show I ever was a guest star on told me the same darn thing.
Right.
So I was very skeptical about having a place in this large, beautiful tapestry, just because that's what they always tell you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they always tell you. They always say, oh, I think this could turn into something. Or, oh, we're really going to see this character. Oh, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not.
Right.
Thanks.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Don't lead me on.
Yeah. Well, egg on your face, because they brought you back a lot.
Obviously, you're back. You're a big part of the show, and we'll have you on again. But the question here is, what's your favorite Jody Mills moment from Supernatural? Spoilers are fair game.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, that's a wide umbrella.
Hey, man, I'm just asking the questions. Somebody's got to read the script.
That's so hard, because like the things that the favorite Jody stuff versus the acting moments. There's been moments where they're delightful to me because they were an acting challenge, and I did it. Like there's a whole scene I have with Sam Smith where we're talking about her boys as a pair of mothers, and we're standing in front of a funeral pyre. And you know, on television, everybody makes such intense eye contact, and you've got to look at the eye closest to the camera, and you've got to make sure that you focus so that you don't look cross-eyed if it's a close, like all of it's like intense. And we did the entire scene. We talked to the director. We did the entire scene without looking at each other.
Right.
Because of the intimacy assumed.
Right.
And I love that moment. Nobody else is going to be like, yeah, in 15 years of Supernatural, what's the moment that but like things like that stand out.
Sure.
Things like managing to not laugh as Brianna's reading all of the cop options. Prepare for a riot. Why not try it? Why not? And I like the fact that I didn't break character in that moment. The moments that are my favorite moments are not my favorite because they're the most important to the show. They're my favorite because they're the most important to my heart.
Good, as they should be.
So
well, there you go. That's
I
beautifully said.
I did like being able to shoot the mean lady from Men of Letters in the head. I like that they gave me that kill.
Ooh.
That was important.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I did like that I got my limbs busted as often as I did because I felt that was very egalitarian of them. I was pretty proud of my stage combat. I actually took a punch. So I got, there was one guy that missed a couple times and I was like, that landed, but I'm not going to the take.
Oh, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
sucks being that guy.
That's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, he was not around much longer.
Well, Kim, you're such a big part of the show, and
big part.
I told you this in person, but I was so thrilled when we finally got to you last season, and then we watched that documentary that Jim made about that episode, and you're like, I'm just excited to be here, and you're like, it was really sweet and cute, and anyway, so we'll can't wait to have you on again and talk more Jody Mills.
Oh yeah, many times.
I'm so happy I did. Thank you. I love you guys. I love that you're doing this. I love being a part of it.
It's so fun.
Thank you, and thank you. And we love having you too. So more to come.
Thank you. Have fun.
Bye, Kim. Thank you so much.
Go team.
This is Mark Shepard, and you're listening to Supernatural Then and Now. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a little hell to raise.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. With over 122 million parts, you can make sure your number one ride or die stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply.
The Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid is about performance. not just on the road, but in life. With not only trunk space, but room to make memories. It's electric, with a backup plan, where the only speed that matters is how fast you can slow down. The Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid. Performance where it matters the most. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
We're back. Thanks.
Dude, is there anybody more fun to interview?
So fun. And you know, I'd forgotten at first that she hadn't been on the show yet to talk about Jody Mills. So it's fun to finally.
Right. And by the way, I completely was there. I think because we see Kim so often in our real life that it just felt like she'd been on the show, and she has been to be a guest reviewer, but she has not been to talk about Jody. So
again, it's funny because I feel like we're asking her questions that she probably gets asked all the time at her panels, but we never see her panels and we don't see the answers to these questions. So it's all new to us.
Yep.
It's always fun when it's a friend that we come across. Oh, you know what? We didn't, speaking of a friend, there's a scene in this episode where Jim talks to Garth.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be DJ Qualls.
Right. We don't know that yet.
I don't think Garth has been cast yet. I don't think DJ knows he's being talked to.
And it's just a name. So at this point, we haven't heard the name Garth yet, and it's just a name, right?
No, but I picked up on that. I was like, oh, future DJ Qualls.
Right. And the other question I had is, why aren't we playing The Gambler? Is that the name of that song? You got to know when to hold 'em. No way to fold him. Why aren't we playing that as the play-on song for Jim Beaver?
You 110% have to change that. It makes so much more sense than playing the song from Risky Business, a movie he's not in.
No, it's just it just makes us think of him that
the Gambler.
Like that old diamond rock and roll.
You got to change it.
Yeah, we have to change it right away, like ASAP.
Yeah,
get on that, Rich.
I'm on it. I'll tell the band right now. Wait a minute, you're the leader of the band. You tricked me.
What? I can't hear you. I'm talking about mythology.
Mythology.
The Lamia is a female demon found in Greek mythology who devoured children and seduced men.
You had me at seduced men.
You knew a few of them in your day. She appears in literature as early as the 6th century BCE and is said to be fearsome to look upon with an ugly face, a woman's upper body, and a serpent's lower body.
Dude, they just described your dream girl.
Well, where does her name come from, Rich?
Well, her name derives from the Greek lamos, which sometimes is what Rob is called when he's pulling an "I've got to go to bed" or "I'm not going to have a final drink with you fellas." And we're like, oh, it must be the Greek goddess Lamos, which also means gullet, and Lamiros, which means gluttonous.
And that's what they call you and I in the streets, Lamos and Lamiros.
Lamos and Lamiros. Hey, look, here comes Lamos and Lamiros.
Though it is a Greek myth, there are references to it in the Bible. Okami. What's an okami, Rich?
Okami, okami, okami. And if you're not gonna come me, then come someone else. Oh, you want me to read from the... Okay. I thought you wanted to improv a song. Okami.
Okami.
In super...
Okami, kami,
Okami in Supernatural are, I guess they're plural, a type of Japanese werewolves. Or Okami in Supernatural is a type of Japanese werewolf. However, real mythology, not that BS TV mythology, real mythology has them as a wolf spirit who actually saved the lands of Japan.
Aww.
So thank you, Okami.
In Japanese folklore, the Okuri Okami, also known as Okuri Ini, is a... are you an outie or an innie?
I'm an Okuri outie. By the way, I was right there with you on that joke. As soon as that happened, I'm like, okay, I know where I'm going.
It's a ghost...
And like a trained professional, you laughed me the belly button joke.
So it's actually a ghostly wolf or a dog-like creature that haunts dark mountain passes or roads through forests. The name translates as sending off wolf or dog or escorting dog because this spirit trails closely behind travelers at night. Huh, there you go. Escorting dog.
Scary. And that's a scary fact, but now we're switching to fun facts, fun facts.
Thank God. All right. The title of the episode comes from the 1989 comedy Weekend at Bernie's.
Very similar to Weekend at Bobby's, only in Weekend at Bernie's, they're all wearing clothes.
True. And Bernie's dead in Weekend at Bernie's, and Bobby's very much alive. Both Bobbies.
Good point.
Both me and Beaver.
The German title of this episode is Immer Arger mit Bobby, which translates to always trouble with Bobby. And of course, there's the Japanese translation, which loosely means the happy fun boat that kills you.
I like always Bobby with the trouble. The newscaster heard on Bobby's TV is the voice of Alan Ackles, Jensen Ackles' father. What? I did not know that. It was recorded over the phone while Alan was in his bathrobe sipping coffee.
This is the first time that Garth is mentioned, which it's the second time that Garth is mentioned. Rob mentioned Garth just a second ago.
Yeah.
Bobby says to him on the phone, "How are you still alive?" Garth shows up for the first time in season 7. Time for a wedding, played by DJ Qualls.
All right. Fergus McLeod's son was named Gavin McLeod and was a ship captain. I didn't catch that. Gavin McLeod is the name of an American television actor. Among his roles was playing Captain Merrill Steubing on the American television show The Love Boat.
By the way, have you seen that there's a show on Hulu that's absolutely, they're not giving it credit to be a spinoff of Love Boat, but it's about like a swanky, or what do you call it? Like
swinging boat.
Lothario doctor on a ship.
Oh, yeah.
Starring Joshua.
Yeah.
Is it the Bernie?
Yeah, but it's Capel.
It's the Bernie Capel show. It's the spinoff starring Bernie. It's the spinoff basically.
Yeah, but it's going to be like a little bit of loving and a little bit of like, patient of the week.
Yeah, I know. But my point is that would be what the spinoff, the
Bernie
totally Capel series would have been.
Totally.
In season 5, episode 20, The Devil You Know, Crowley is furious that a group of demons ate his tailor. In this episode, it is revealed that in life, Crowley himself was a tailor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
So
trivia, Rob. Fun facts. That's what they are, and that's why they're called fun facts.
Yeah, lots of good stuff to take away here, folks.
Yeah, and I thought of you when they realized that Crowley sold his soul for some extra wang. I was like, Rob Benedict.
What?
Oh, I know you love a good wang joke. So I was like,
oh man.
I remember in the 80s when your buddies started that band and they were going to call it Chung, and you go, why Chung? Why not Wang Chung? And they went with Wang Chung and they made a mint thanks to you, because you said a little Wang goes a long way. I remember you said that to those fellas.
No, I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
You can never go wrong with Wang. Is what you said.
No, I never said that. But hey.
Well, it's sort of like the way politics go right now. Maybe you never said it, but you can't prove you didn't.
That's true.
So anyway, moving on.
That's true.
And now it's a fact.
Yeah. Well, Wang Chung or not, we have finished this podcast, and we appreciate you sticking with us. We're excited.
Yeah, man. It was a good one. Kim Rhodes, really great. Yeah. Jensen Ackles' debut episode.
Yeah, I dug it.
I want to encourage everybody who's listening to have fun tonight. And you know what? I'm going to go one step further and say, why don't you all Wang Chung tonight?
We'll see you next time, everybody. This episode of Supernatural features Jared Padalecki as Sam Winchester, Jensen Ackles as Dean Winchester.
Guest stars include Jim Beaver, Stephen Williams, Mark Shepard, Kim Rhodes, Jennifer Aspen, Sharon Taylor, and Adam Groves.
Weekend at Bobby's was written by Andrew Dabb and Daniel Laughlin and directed by Jensen Ackles.
Editing by Anthony Pinker. Music by Christopher Leonards.
Executive produced by Sarah Gamble, Robert Singer, and Eric Kripke.
The original broadcast of this episode featured the following songs. The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. And by the way, you really do need to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
That's true. This episode originally aired on October 15th, 2010.
This episode of Supernatural Then and Now is hosted and executive produced by Richard Speight Jr. and Rob Benedict.
Produced by Stephen Hine. Written by Stephen Hine and Haida Holscher.
And edited and associate produced by Trey Booty.
Well, what's up, Booty?
Music provided by Tim Wynn.
This episode was recorded with the help of Sonic Fuel Studios.
This podcast is from Story Mill Media.
Follow the podcast on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and all those things at SPN Then and Now, where you can see video clips.
Video clips?
Yeah.
Become a member of the podcast at patreon.com/SPN Then and Now to get early episodes and full-length video interviews.
Story Mill Media.
Welcome to Sagas of Sundry Goblin Mode. It's a brand new fantasy series that uses tabletop role-playing games to tell an ever-evolving story. Get ready for action, adventure, and weird little monsters. Set in the mysterious world of Sundaros, Goblin Mode follows a group of underdogs, or should I say, underlings, working for a dark overlord, until they find themselves in charge for once. Join Game Master Amy Vorpal as she leads players Danielle Radford, Dan Casey, and Jason Wynn on an adventure unlike anything you've experienced before. Who will live? Who will die? Sagas of Sundry, Goblin Mode. The adventure begins September 9th. Join Geek and Sundry and Realm for Sagas of Sundry Goblin Mode. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.